Well, hi, friends. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And Jerry Usher is back from a very short vacation. Jerry, how was it?
Short. No, it was good. Thank you so much. Yeah, I got up to Big Bear Lake, California, a beautiful resort town about 6,700 feet above where I normally am, and so about
Wow.
30 degrees cooler than normal. So it was very nice, and I thank everyone. Thank you so much for your prayers. It was really a time I wanted to get away and just unplug and refresh a little bit. And I think God did some of that. And I would appreciate your ongoing prayers as I just continue to try to do the will of God and follow wherever it is that He leads me.
That is awesome. Awesome. So let me ask you this question because I get to take a few short days around Marty's birthday, July 3rd, July 4th. Did it feel strange that you weren't on the show?
Well, it did. It did, and I don't mean this in any way, nothing personal toward you or the listeners, but I really made a conscious effort to just unplug. I was on my computer about 5 minutes in the morning, about 5 minutes in the afternoon, just to see if there was anything pressing on email. I did answer a couple of voicemails, but other than that, I didn't listen to the show, and I actually got a little extra sleep, even past the start of the show time on a couple of days. So.
Wow, wow. So that's good news, though, Jerry.
Yeah.
Then you didn't hear any of the things we said about you.
No, which is
Just,
good.
just kidding. It was all good. Everybody just shared that they were glad that you took those days, and they were looking forward to when I get to take a few days as well. So I think that was a good 3-year anniversary gift that we gave ourselves, Jerry. And so I'm looking forward to our few days on around Marty's birthday. But today on your first show back from your short vacation, we're talking today about, do you feel you have to prove yourself? And you put this on the calendar, Jerry. We titled it "Nothing to Prove," but tell all of us a little bit as to what you want to maybe discuss today about this.
Well, I'm going to give the phone number out, and then we'll get into that. If you'd like to join us on the program, remember it is driven by you, the listeners. The number is 833-288-3986. 833-288-EWTN. And yeah, Debbie, I'll be honest with you. I have had a lifelong struggle of trying to think that I had to do, I had to achieve, I had to, I guess you'd say, prove myself. And with God, we don't have to do anything to earn His love, to win His love. We don't have to prove ourselves to Him, and we don't have to prove ourselves to even ourselves or our spouses or our family or our friends. But sometimes we do fall into that trap, and we feel like, well, if I just do this well enough, or if I just achieve this accomplishment, or if I get this job or get this degree, or if I just act a certain way, then people will accept me and God will love me. But the truth of it is, we are accepted and loved just as we sit still in an easy chair and breathe. So I want to hear from other people who maybe, like me, have struggled with this. And I do think, Debbie, it's because of some of the things we talked about on the show that I've experienced in my life, some of the hurts and wounds and so forth. And then you think, well, I got to make up for that. I have to compensate somehow, because if I don't, I'm not worthy enough. I'm not good enough. So that's kind of the direction I thought that this might go. And I'll tell you what, like I said, I share this little challenge with everybody else who's in the same boat. So I want to hear from others. If you or maybe you've gotten beyond that and you think, you know what, I no longer feel like I have to prove myself. I just am, and God loves me, and others accept me, and I love and accept myself the way I am.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, you're making me think about even my childhood, Jerry, because I tend to be an overachiever, and you would say that about yourself as well, correct?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I would love to hear what our listeners have to say about this. Here's the number, 1-833-288-3986. That's the number to call to be on the show. Typically, phone lines light up very quickly and stay lit the entire hour, very brief hour we spend with one another. So we have to move quickly. We're going to ask you that if you feel that little tug in your spirit to say, okay, I think I have something to say about this, or maybe like what Jerry was sharing, that you matured past that. And what I mean by that is because when we are growing up, we tend to try to do the things to prove ourselves. But as we mature, and especially as we mature in our faith, and I think that's what you were getting at, Jerry, and a better understanding and a better relationship that we have with God, hopefully it's growing and it's deepening every single day of our lives, we start to realize that sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and we are very tough on ourselves to try and prove ourselves out there in the world or in our relationships. So this is an interesting topic. I think we can go many angles with it, but we want to hear from you. 1-833-288-3986. Did I capture that, Jerry?
Yeah, I think so. And I like what you said. As kids, I think it's very, very natural that we have this, we want to make mommy and daddy proud. We want to please them, and we want to have that sense of pride. That's that self-esteem. That's all very, very healthy. And hey, look what I did. We as kids, we color things, and mom and dad put it up on the refrigerator.
Right.
We want to help mom or dad, mow the lawn or fold the laundry and stuff. So being young, it's about doing and about achieving very often. And I think parents delight in that. And so there's nothing wrong with that. However, like you said, as life goes on, again, sometimes we have a little ding, a little dent in our self-esteem or our self-worth or something. And so we feel like, well, if I just, do this or that or achieve this or that or, whatever, make somebody happy, then that's going to validate me, And the reality is, folks, we are validated just because we are. So please weigh in on this. Hey, my first show back after a few days off, and you know what? I was going to say I have something to prove, but I don't.
Jerry, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you.
I was just going to say, my dear friend who was just diagnosed with cancer, she actually, we had an interesting conversation. She holds 2 master's degrees, and she was pursuing a doctoral degree. And it has to do with in ministry. She loves teaching Bible studies and stuff like that, and she's a teacher by trade, and she's actually a math teacher, but she got into ministry and just loved it, and she went on to get an additional master's degree, and then she was pursuing a doctoral degree. And when she was diagnosed with cancer, we had a real deep conversation, and she said to me, she says, Debbie, so many times you said to me, why do I feel like I have to get this degree? I have 2 master's degrees. And she goes, I just felt so driven by it. And then when I got the diagnosis that I had cancer, she says, the first thing I said to my husband is, what was I thinking? Why am I getting this degree? I don't need it, and I don't, and it's just going to take a lot of time and effort away from the family. And she went on. And it was so interesting, the conversation, Jerry, because prior to the diagnosis, I could not sway her from the drive she had about getting this additional degree. It's very interesting. But when you are hit with something like, a medical diagnosis, I mean, it does change the way you think. And I do believe in my heart of hearts that it makes us mature very quickly and realize what is important in life. So I don't know how that can even weigh into this discussion as well, but phone lines are starting to light up, so that's a good sign. If you want to jump in on this conversation, this is Jerry's first show back from his very short vacation, and so we want to fill the phone lines and have a very, very vibrant discussion about proving yourself today. 1-833-288-3986.
All right.
What do you think?
I think we're going to have a fine discussion. Jean is going to be first on the phones here momentarily. And as Debbie said, the lines are lighting up. There are a couple of lines open. So do you feel you have something to prove? Or does that kind of, in the back of your mind, does that drive you to do some of the things you do? Or, do you feel content in just, hey, I've done what God called me to do, what I felt led to do, and I'm good with that? 833-288-3986.
Raymond Arroyo.
We need EWTN radio for the reason that Mother Angelica founded this enterprise. She saw this as a holistic approach, reaching the whole person, bringing them truth and life.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN radio.
EWTN Religious Catalog is your online destination for Catholic books, DVDs, rosaries, devotionals, and every purchase directly supports EWTN's mission. Ready to shop? Visit EWTNRC.com today.
Living the Beatitudes with Father Bjorn.
Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you're on a football team, you don't want to just run up and down the field holding the ball and never cross into the end zone and get a touchdown. If you're on vacation, you don't want to drive all the way to Orlando and then never enter into the Magic Kingdom. We want to reach our goal, but there are a lot of obstacles, discouragement, and challenges along the way. Jesus' voice is the one calling us to say yes to him, to live the life that he's calling us to live. We have to choose one way or the other, choose him or not. But if we choose him, we will be opposed. We're going to have people challenge what we believe or call us crazy. But Jesus doesn't just say, come follow me, to follow a beatitude. He's calling us to be like himself. He is the Beatitudes. He doesn't just say, do what I say. He says, come follow me. He's with us every step of the way, transforming our weakness into strength. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
It's Friday. Don't get started with your weekend yet. Stay with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I just wanted to highlight a show that I really love. She does a fine job. I tell you, her advice is so spot on. It's great. Common sense, too. I love it. Masked Appeal, Colleen Kelly Mast, on Saturday mornings at 9 Eastern Time. Please try to tune in to her show. It is fabulous. And Jerry, she's a friend of ours, and you know, isn't she just, I mean, her the way she approaches things, we can all benefit from the advice she gives.
Very insightful, very insightful. A lot of it comes from a lived experience. She has gone through a lot, suffered a lot. She's achieved a lot, and she has brought many blessings and graces into a lot of people's lives. So, yeah, Masked Appeal, Saturday morning, 9 Eastern Time on EWTN Radio, many of these affiliates. And we're talking today about, do you need to prove yourself? Do you feel maybe a little bit driven to say, you know what, I'm going to show so-and-so, or I'm going to show myself, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with setting goals and achieving things. That is absolutely a great thing. But when it comes to, you know, maybe just feeling a sense of a need, you know, to impress others or to achieve certain things in order to gain their acceptance or validity, if you feel that has driven you in any way, what do you think maybe has led to that? And do you look back? You look back on your life and things you've tried and maybe haven't worked out the way you had planned. And maybe you look back and you say, wow, you know, that was a failure, you know, but it wasn't, you know, because nothing is a failure that you try and you set out and you think you're following God's will and you rely on him for the outcome. So let's have a conversation about this at 833-288-3986.
Jerry, maybe that's why I put down the game of golf as a professional career, because I remember being, you're jogging my memory here. I remember being 16 years old, and I would get up to the first tee box, and there would be a gallery of people watching all of us tee off, because we were the, you know, young, up-and-coming stars of golf in New Jersey. And the pressure was on. You talk about proving yourself. You had to get up there, and you couldn't, you couldn't hit the ball in any way, shape, or form, because you had people expecting you to perform. And maybe that's why I put down the game of golf. It was a lot of pressure, and I think we can relate that to everyday life. There's a tremendous amount of pressure in trying to prove ourselves, and is it really worth it? I mean, God knows every hair on our head. He knows us inside and out. So let's see what Jean has to say in Cleveland, Ohio, listening on the Rock. Jean, you got our virtual First Up Award. Congratulations, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I won't contribute this to blind luck. I'm totally blind, by the way. I called once before, a couple years ago. But anyway, and these are minor little things, but I just felt so good, you know, when I made the decisions and just followed through. Actually, there were three things. I only mentioned two. But number one was, I don't know, about 10 years ago maybe, when I ran out of makeup. I didn't wear much, just a foundation, cream, powder, and lipstick, but I never could get them on straight, or almost never get them on straight. You know, I couldn't look in the mirror and say, but it was always, oh, you don't have them on straight. Here, let me do this. And when I ran out, I just said, to heck with it. I'm not doing it. This is my last job. Hopefully I'm going to retire after my last job. It depends on how long I work. And I'm just not going to wear it anymore. I just don't like it, never liked it. I'm just not going to do it. And then the second one was a couple years ago. I was at a retreat in Cleveland, and my glasses broke. The part that fits over the, where your eyes are, came out. The glass part came out, and and I knew it was going to be a big hassle to my sister to drive me out to this place, outside of Cuyahoga County to get them fixed. So I tried wearing another pair behind my ear, and it was just, and it was just very behind my ear was just very uncomfortable. And I had, my mom had, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, had gotten me to get them, for cosmetic reasons, because, my eyes move, but there's nothing to move them to, So,
okay.
So I just said, the heck with it. The heck with it. I'm not wearing them. I don't feel so. And it was interesting. My mom thought I should have them. My older sister, thought that they accentuated the blindness even more. So I just said, okay, as long as there's no agreement, I'm game. I'm not wearing them. The third thing was in 2001 when going to my dad's funeral. I had a brown skirt. It was kind of a wool skirt. I also had a pair of brown pants that were exactly the same material, very long pants, exactly the same material. And Patty says to Mom, Mom, just let her wear the pants. Jean looks uncomfortable in a skirt. And I haven't even worn a skirt or a dress since. And I've always hated them. And the one time when I expressed to my mom how I hated dress, she says, don't be silly. Well, I haven't worn a dress since then.
Jean, as I'm... Well, no, actually, I don't think they are, because those are signs to me anyway that you are loving yourself, and you don't have to look a certain way, be a certain way, or appear a certain way just to make others feel better. You are feeling good about you. And I love that about you. I think that shows a tremendous strength inside of you, and it shows that you are comfortable with yourself, and you're comfortable with how others perceive you. I think that is great, and we can all learn from your three examples that you have discarded because they weren't working for you. What do you think, Jerry? I love what Jean has to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, those kind of milestone moments that are forced upon us every now and then, like she said with the makeup, she just ran out and she says, you know what, okay, I'm going to make a change here. I don't have anything to prove. I don't have to look a certain way. And then same thing with the glasses. So I think we all just need to be open to those maybe moments of providence in our lives when, we might not have thought about making a change or doing something different up until something like that happens. So, yeah, I really appreciate what Jean has had to share.
Yeah, I do as well, Jean. Jean, may I ask you a quick question? I'm always curious about this. I'm actually fascinated by it. But you said that you are. I think you said you're fully blind. May I ask? Are your other senses very heightened? Because I've always read that when one of our, like visually or hearing, or if we're impaired somehow, the other senses kick in and are very heightened. Is that true?
I'm not quite sure exactly how to answer that. It could be, but that might have been only because, if we've had to train them that way. I don't know if it's an automatic thing, but I mean, I've heard that a lot too. I'm not sure how to answer that though.
It's just interesting how the body compensates and protects itself and is able to function so beautifully. I always marvel at God's creation in us. It's just incredible. Jean, thank you so much. Thank you for blessing our day today and sharing your story about proving yourself, because I think it's helped all of us. God bless you. And now, Jean, go ahead and start your weekend. You did your part. You called in to take two with Jerry and Debbie.
Thanks, Jean.
Jerry?
Appreciate hearing from you. Here is the phone number for that line that Jean was occupying there, 1-833-288-EWTN, talking about the need to prove oneself to others, to God, to ourselves. Have you experienced that in your life? Maybe you never have. if you never have, you could really impart a lot to those of us who have. Like I said at the start of the show, I know much of my life. I remember one time, Debbie, when I was young, and we lived in a small town. There was no Catholic church, but there was this local community church. So all of our siblings, we would go, and there would be the time for singing songs. And I remember I would just sing so loud. One time, the pastor actually had to come over to me and say, "You know what, Jerry, you don't need to sing so loud." But I was just like, from a young age, I really felt like I had to go above and beyond just to be accepted and loved and affirmed and all of that. And hopefully I'm, as I get to the age that I am, I'm losing some of that, hopefully lose all of that, and just learn to be who God made me to be. And that's what we want for you, our listeners. So we're going to continue along with Randy, who is in Oil City, Pennsylvania, listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on JMJ Radio. Hi, Randy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Randy. Yeah, hello. Go ahead, Randy. Are you there, Randy? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I just wanted to let my fiance know that she's listening, that I do care and I do love her, and I hope that I proved enough to her to let her know that I can be trusted and believed, and I'm just not really sure what to do or what to say or how to get her back, or I'm just at a loss right now. If she's the only thing I have, I don't know what to do.
Okay, so you mentioned she's your fiance, so you're engaged to be married, but then you're implying that there's a separation between the two of you right now?
Yeah, she just grabbed the baby and took off with her mother because her mother made up some story and showed her fake messages that I was cheating on her, and that's not the case. But I know that she knows me better than that, but I don't know what's going on with her right now. I know that we have to work on things, but it's just not the way to do it.
Right. Well, yeah, Randy, I would hope that she would come to you and seek, your account of this, because it sounds from your heart. It sounds like you're being very authentic and true and honest about this. That you did not cheat on her, and if she's being told this by her mother, then there must be some reason that her mother does not want her to be united with you in marriage, and that's unfortunate when a parent interferes like that. Obviously, Debbie and I don't know any other circumstances beyond that, but Debbie, I don't know if you've got any thoughts on this, because this is not uncommon, unfortunately.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, Randy, is we're not trained professionals in this area, but you really, there's a lot of support out there, and you really deserve to get that support. Yeah, so what I would suggest is please reach out to your parish, your church, reach out to trained professionals that can help you and your fiance and her mother to do what's right for the family and the child. You said there's a baby involved, Randy. But here's the thing here's the thing I would just say, Randy, and this is very, very important, and I cannot stress it enough. When you are going through a crisis situation, okay, and this is it sounds like this is a real crisis for you. Okay, please, you've got to maintain your peace somehow, okay? And with that, you've got to ramp up your prayer life. You've got to really stay close to Jesus, okay? Because when you go through things like this in life, it can really take you off the path. And you've got to fix your eyes on Jesus and stay very, very grounded in it and peaceful, and also take care of yourself, because these things can take an emotional, physical, mental toll on us. And you don't want that either, Randy. So I'm going to pray for you that the right support comes around you to help you through this, whatever the outcome is. I hope that's okay advice I'm giving you, but I just have to say that because I can hear it in your voice. You are very, 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 very saddened by this.
Yes, very. And I really do appreciate you praying for me and giving me this advice that I couldn't have came at a better time.
Well, you sound like a good man, Randy, and you have invested your heart into your fiance, and there's no question that she has invested her heart in you. She's getting a little bit, perhaps misled, maybe a little bit of misinformation. Again, we don't know, But with God, God has this in His hands, Randy. He has you wrapped, up in His arms, and your fiance as well. And you mentioned the baby, so we're going to pray for all three of you and for her mother as well. And if you are so inclined, you can email us and let us know how things come out. The email address is take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com, or you can definitely call the program again anytime. But Debbie, we can assure Randy and anybody in similar circumstances that they have our prayers and the prayers of the entire Take-Two family.
Well, that's one thing we absolutely commit to is prayer. We believe in it, and we've seen the miracles that have come out of all of us joining together in prayer. So Take-Two family, please, let's pray for all the Take-Two intentions, but also especially for Randy today and his whole entire situation. So would you do that for us? We'll be right back on Take-Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Third Millennium Media presents Debbie Georgianni.
The world tells us not to be merciful, and we as Catholic Christians are called to take a step back and look at it in a different way. We must practice mercy, especially if we want to receive mercy.
Debbie Georgianni, co-host of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, wants to visit your parish retreat or conference. Invite Debbie Georgianni today online at thirdmillenniummedia.com.
There are some saints and martyrs who were beheaded with a greater peace than I have when someone cuts me off on the freeway or my teenager's running late for school. If I find someone's driving me crazy, the problem isn't that person, it's me. Whenever someone disturbs your inner peace, your inner life is too disturbable. Jesus showed us in the way to Calvary that no one can take your hope, your joy, your peace, or even your love for them. No one can make you act or feel anything. When Jesus reigns in our hearts and minds, we don't hand over that kind of power to any human being. So if you're letting someone drive you crazy today, maybe God's telling you to build up the interior castle of your heart so that nothing disturbs you. But that comes from prayer. As St. Paul wrote from prison, do not be anxious about anything, but in prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Then the peace that surpasses understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
EWTN, communicating the faith.
Here's one thing that I would recommend, what I call gap time. So, for example, you're driving in the car. When you're at home, maybe doing dishes, what are you listening to on the plane? See, I use all those gap opportunities and fill those gaps with things that are going to strengthen and deepen my faith. So I listen to EWTN podcasts all the time because I also want to learn and grow and deepen in my faith.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
I'm Brian Patrick.
And I'm Gloria Purvis. Monday, Dr. Michael Horan on Tech Talk.
Our godly counsel has been Senior Charles Pope. Join us for Morning Glory on EWTN Radio.
Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
I'm Jerry Usher with Debbie Georgianni, and you make the show. You drive it with your takes. Talking about maybe a perceived need to prove oneself today. 833-288-3986. Randy in Oil City, one last quick little word for you, Debbie. You said, Debbie, you just got a text from a friend of yours saying that she's going to be praying for Randy.
She's praying for Randy right now, saying the rosary. I just thought it was so beautiful, and I responded back to her, and I said thank you on behalf of Randy, and said thank you. I'm sure Randy appreciates it very, very much. So prayers are coming your way and surrounding you, Randy. So please keep us posted. Take Jerry up on that offer of emailing us at take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com.
Okay. Back to your phone calls on this important topic, insightful one that you always leave us much more edified. And we are going to go to Sharon next, who is in Boston, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for joining us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi there.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Very well.
Hello? Oh, good. Okay. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about, the topic, but specifically me. So when I was younger, I had a learning disability. Now, I knew I was smart, and I was an achiever. I did have goals, and I wanted to reach my goals and constantly that sort of thing. But when I went to go to college, I just had difficulty. So anyway, I met a man who was a very successful businessman, owned his own business. He was a stockbroker. And, he knew I just had the high school education, and he wasn't, we fell in love. So anyway, now I'm 60, and I'm divorced from him. So I'm trying to meet somebody. So at 60, I'm on this dating site, and it's an online dating site. It's a Catholic dating site. And I'm so feeling like, what happened to me? Why didn't I get a degree? All these people have degrees. Why didn't, and then I have to remind myself, well, I did go to school when we were married, and over years and years and years working towards a bachelor's degree. I do volunteer work. I had great jobs. I was the first woman in an office, a nationwide insurance company that was given a bonus. It's like I have all these things, but people, it seems like the men that I want to meet are so super educated, double masters, doctorates, and they don't even pay attention to me. So it makes me, as a Catholic, want to, at 60, to say, well, I can't have a new career now, really. I mean, the learning curve would be huge, and I'd probably be, too old to work. Not really, but I'm a high energy, good health person. But that's what I wanted to talk about. And I hope you could give me some advice on how to tamper it down a little bit and be more. I mean, I'm praying on it, and I kind of say, God's will, but it doesn't go away, and I'm anxious about it. I'm thinking, I'll never meet anybody.
Right. Well, Sharon, Jerry and I are very big into life skills, and so if I would really encourage you to look at things a little bit differently when you're approaching this, because you already said it yourself, and you said you are drawn to these people that have these graduate degrees, but they're not they don't seem like they're interested in you. Okay, well, right there it tells you there's a situation right there. So I would encourage you to really look at yourself and start accepting yourself, start appreciating yourself. And if you choose that you want to go on to do something else, or maybe learn something new, or even go back to school part-time or do something, then make it be the right choice for you, not just because it would be a way to meet a certain level of people, if you will, or be in their circle. Because here's the thing. If God wants you to be with that perfect mate in a God willing sacramental union, He'll bring them to you. I mean, that's just the way it is. But you've got to be in a good place to receive it, and to be in a I think a healthy spiritual place with yourself, in your relationship with God. And then it tends to work out beautifully. I hope I'm saying that correctly, Sharon and Jerry. You know where I'm going with this, because it sounds like you're putting these obstacles. You're your own worst enemy, Sharon, and that's not healthy.
You're right.
For you.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm in a busy. I know. I feel that's what I'm doing too. And I did go back to school because I've always loved architecture, and when I went back to college, which I didn't finish my degree, I loved art history. So as something I've been doing over the last couple of years is I did go back, and I've been working towards I've been looking at architecture and taking courses and interior design, floor plans. It's very complicated, but it's something I wanted to do. But
Sharon, focus on that, Sharon. Focus on that. You see what you just said? When you started talking about what you liked, your passion, what's driving you, I would not focus. If it were me, I wouldn't focus on trying to position yourself or look a certain way or be a certain way or achieve something to try and have a relationship. Our first and primary relationship that we should be working at and working towards is obviously God, and with that comes all the blessings that flow from that. So I would encourage you to go back to the basics with yourself, with your relationship with God, and watch how God unfolds in your life, and ask God, ask him, how do you want me, what do you want me to do in this world to give glory and praise to you, Lord?
I do.
And see, yeah, see where it takes you, though.
I'm
living
praying.
proof of it, Sharon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry, what do you think?
I don't know your story.
Well, no, Sharon. If you, I thought maybe you were going to comment on that before I share anything. Did you want to follow up with what Debbie was sharing?
She's absolutely right, and that's exactly. I knew I was stepping outside of my realm of self-confidence and my successes, and having raised a family and supported my very busy, successful husband. All those life skills that you talk about, and all those personal loves that I have. And yeah, I was definitely getting caught up in I'm not good enough, and praying to God and saying, please give me an avocation, But I guess that now that I'm talking to you guys, I guess really what I want to do is absolutely kind of just get off that website for a while and just focus on my relationship with God and what He wants to reveal to me in terms of a mate. I mean, He knows what I want before I even get on these websites, and I just think it's getting to me. So I thought maybe you guys could help me with a prayer, and your advice has been great. Thank you.
Yeah, you've got our prayers, Sharon. And again, as Debbie pointed out, we're not trained in any sort of counseling or guidance or anything. Just we've lived our lives, and we do appreciate the approach of life skills. But I echo what Debbie said, Sharon. When you started talking about these things that you are wanting to do, and the design and all of that stuff, I heard you really perk up. I heard your heart just kind of leap right there. And so it might not be a bad idea. You said it yourself. It might be a good idea to, leave that side alone for a while right now, and just focus on you and loving God and receiving His love. And as Debbie said, just say, God, how can I glorify you? And it probably is the path that you're on right now, because God puts desires in our hearts, and then He brings them to fruition. So you've got the prayers, Sharon. You can be assured of that, not only of me and Debbie, but of the entire Take Two family. We have priests listening to the program, Debbie, don't we? And others who are definitely going to join us in praying for Sharon.
We have sisters, we have priests, we have deacons, we have lay leaders in the church. So Sharon, be assured of our prayers, and keep us posted. You can always email us, Sharon, too, if you want to keep the conversation going at take2, the number 2 at EWTN.com. But have a beautiful rest of your day, and have a beautiful weekend. Thanks, Sharon. Okay. Next up is, who's up? Nancy? Do I see that correctly, Jerry?
That is
My screen
correct.
just
Nancy.
froze.
It is,
okay. Nancy in Waterford, California, on iHeartRadio app. Hi, Nancy. Welcome.
Oh, hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. You were talking about self-esteem, and the Holy Spirit just kind of, I guess, attacked my heart when you said that. I had no self-esteem growing up, and I was a drug addict and an alcoholic for 21 years. And I asked God to take it away, and I've got 12 years clean and sober now. And God also led me to the Catholic Church 3 years ago with my mom. And it's just been awesome. My self-esteem, I went back to school. I'm in my master's program. I'm studying to be a psychologist. And God's just working great things. I got asked to be a youth leader at church, to work with the youth and to let them know that don't go my way. My way was not the way to go. And God doesn't have that way for you. So I just wanted to call and tell you that self-esteem is affected in different ways, and I really like your guys' show.
Thank you, Nancy. Debbie, I'll just comment quickly, then you may have something to say. But I love your account, Nancy, how you ask God to take away we call them addictions, of course, but really in a sense we're blocking love when we do that. We're blocking God's love from getting into our hearts. And I really feel, honestly, and I struggle with this in my own life, when we're ready to surrender things to God and let Him take certain things away, God has so many amazing things to unleash in our lives. And I think, Debbie, we can be our own, like you say, worst enemy. We can put up walls and impediments to what God truly wants to do in our lives in terms of just fulfillment and happiness and peace and joy. And so I love what Nancy has shared here, and the fruit of that is evident in her life.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, Nancy, and I just wanted to add on just a little bit to what everything that Jerry said so beautifully. But Nancy, you went through a very difficult time, very, very difficult time, and you made it through. And because of that, the good Lord is using you in great ways now. And that's a beautiful thing because now you've developed probably a lot of uh, you've learned a lot and the experiences, and you've developed a lot of traits that can help you help others. And you said you're going into psychology, and I'll tell you what, that's going to be key because you'll be able to walk with others deeply through their self-esteem issues, their pain, and all of that. And you'll be able to do that in a very unique way because of your life experience. So, Nancy, my prayer for you is that everything continues and God continues to shine and use you to bring others closer to Him. And, of course, you said you came into the church. And so that, welcome home. That is beautiful. So thank you for sharing your witness and your testimony of your life experience, because I'm sure there's others listening right now that are benefiting from listening to your walk in life. What do you think, Nancy? Did we kind of cover that and just affirm where you're at?
Oh, you just nailed the nail on the head.
Oh, good.
Bless
well,
you,
keep us
Nancy.
posted.
Yeah.
We'd like to journey with you. We want to hear all the great things you're doing. So thank you for calling in and sharing
I will
with
do
us.
that. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Nancy, for the call. Back to your calls in a moment, talking about sometimes this felt need to prove ourselves, or maybe you've just said, you know what, I've had enough of that. I'm just going to be who God made me to be and just receive what He has for me. 833-288-3986. And if you're looking for more great programming from EWTN, of course, it's available on many of these affiliates around the clock. But there's also EWTN Radio Classics, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's more focused on teaching and devotional. So if that's your thing in Catholic radio, you can hear the likes of the late Mother Angelica, the late Father Benedict Rochelle, others like Patrick Madrid, and so many more. Find them online at EWTNradio.net and also on the EWTN app.
Okay, next up is Kelly in Kentucky. Hi, Kelly. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hey, how are you?
Good,
Doing all right,
Kelly. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
So what's your take on this?
Well, I was listening when a caller called in earlier, and she said something about not wearing makeup or dresses, and I could relate to that because that was something I gave up years ago. I never felt comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Kelly, go ahead. I was just going to say, Kelly, I can relate to it as well because I it amazes me. You know, I look at my side of the closet in my house, and my closet is 5 times the size of my husband. My husband has a few shirts, a few slacks, a suit, and I have this array of stuff that I never wear, and I'm thinking I'm not even comfortable wearing half of it. But it's unfortunate that we in this world, we as women in this world, we are almost forced to have just an abundance of clothes and how to present ourselves and everything. And I think it can be a really healthy and mature thing to do, to just say, you know what, I'm just going to be comfortable wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and that's me. And so I can relate to that. And I know, and Jerry, you're the same way, because you're the same way with, you don't like to get dressed up, I don't think.
Not at all. I have a relatively large, not that big, walk-in closet, and I would say I wear 5% of what's in there. So we need to revisit the show on purging. Because I just
exactly.
I've just accumulated stuff over the years. But yeah, I'm really not and for me I just think I don't like to be feel laden, burdened, encumbered or anything. I just love wearing shorts and just a button down shirt and of course, when you live in where it's 115 degrees this time of year, you tend to kind of dress down a little bit. But
exactly. And then, of course, Kelly, there are and Jerry, there's folks that love to get dressed up, and that's what they love, and that's awesome. I think especially with attire, we really should feel comfortable in how we present ourselves to the world. So I'm sure if Jean's listening, Kelly, she's happy to hear your comments that you affirmed where she's at, and you are as well. Thanks, Kelly, so much from calling in from Kentucky, and have a beautiful rest of your day.
All right, 833-288-3986 is the number. We have real quick, I'm going to go to an email here. Give me just 1 second here. It is from Ann in Chicago. Thank you for your radio ministry. Your topic today made me think about a time I wanted to use the sacrament of confession to help, quote, cure my compulsion for people-pleasing. I found I was overbooking myself with activities trying to fit into my daughter's school environment at the parish and caring for my aging mother, and that my daughter and husband were getting short shrift. Anyway, I went into the confessional and tried to keep it brief, saying I had examined my motives for a lot of the things I do and realized I was people-pleasing too much and not listening to how God wanted me to spend my time. The priest said pointedly, well, you should be trying to please people. I don't think he got what I was trying to say. It hurt a bit, but I also took it with a sense of humor. The particular priest was from another country, which has much more of a collective culture than we do in the U.S. I thought about, what did she say? Since then, I've been trying to figure out how to bring this people-pleasing tendency to the confessional. It is hard to discern whether we are doing the right things for the wrong reasons and whether we have our priorities straight. So let's see. Yeah, so any thoughts on how to... Yeah, she says, any thoughts on how to bring this proving yourself impulse into the confessional in an effective way?
Okay, yeah, I do have a thought on that, actually. I've always said, because I did spiritual direction for many years, Jerry, and folks used to come to me and ask me about really using the confessional in a way as sort of a mini therapy session. It's really not the time for that, because you think about it. You're painting just a snippet of your life in a couple minutes in the confessional, and it's very, very hard for any person listening to that to make an assessment. And so what I would do is generalize it, and I would do this. Maybe go into the confessional and talk about the love you have for yourself, the self-esteem part of it, because when you can build up that part of it, and the priest can obviously help with that and encourage and affirm you in where you're at with yourself and your relationship with God, that's going to allow you to shed some of these desires or needs, if you will, to try and prove to other people or please other people. Wouldn't you agree with that, Jerry? It really starts with the way you view yourself and your relationship with God.
Yeah, absolutely. If we know who we are before the Lord, then He is the primary one, as you pointed out earlier, that we really need to try to please. And the thing is, we can't. I had a friend tell me one time, God's love is like oxygen. We don't get oxygen by doing. Okay? Yeah, we want to follow the precepts of the church and practice our faith and fulfill our obligations, but that really should be because we love God and want to worship Him, not to earn what He has for us or wants to give us. So we're going to pray for you, Ann. It sounds like you've got a good finger on the pulse of that, and we know that the Lord is going to lead you to those priests who are going to understand exactly where you are and give you the counsel that's going to help you come to a better place on that. So thank you very much, Ann, for that email. Okay.
Do we have time for one more call, Jerry?
At least one more, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Jacqueline. Jacqueline is in Saskatchewan on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Jacqueline. We're so glad we got you on the air today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Welcome.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me all right?
Very well.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what I just wanted to talk about today real quickly is how I found peace The Holy Spirit gave me lots of peace when I was diagnosed with cancer in 2010. I was told by family and friends that I had to take chemo and radiation. And deep in my heart, and through prayer, I knew that wasn't the right thing for me. So I chose to first, go to my bedroom and pray and find peace in what the right decision was for me through prayer. And no chemo, no radiation, was just the peace that I got. And I was able to stand up to people and say, no, I'm not going to do this chemo, I'm not going to do this radiation. And 8 years later, I'm cancer-free, and everything is right. So for anybody out there that's looking for to be able to stand to people and say, I want to do what is right for me through my prayer, through my stuff, do it. Find your peace.
Mm-hmm. Well, but Jacqueline, first of all, praise be to God that you are doing so well. That is awesome. You are now a cancer thriver. I love that, and I am as well. So right back at you, sister. So that's awesome. But I want to just say something. You said you found that peace. You did what was right for you at the time, but you did it with the deep relationship that you have with God. And this all comes back to God, and it's very, very important, because I've worked with folks that just have gotten a recent diagnosis of cancer, and it's interesting. They tend to run to everybody else before they really get with themselves and with their relationship with God. And it's important, I know, because I was there. I remember the steps when I got the diagnosis. I remember the steps for the treatment. I remember everything. And I remember where I was in relationship to God. And so I echo what you say, Jacqueline. It is so important that when we are hit with all of these things that come at us in life, that we first go into a very quiet place with our Lord and really have a heart-to-heart of where we're at in relationship with Him. And it's, wow, your testimony is very powerful, and God bless you. We are praying for you to continued great health, Jacqueline, and tell your story a lot. It can help others. Jerry, wouldn't you agree with that? Jacqueline's story is powerful.
It is. Thank you, Jacqueline, for sharing that. And it's beautiful that you found peace, because peace is indispensable and irreplaceable. And so we'll be praying for you, Jacqueline, and we would sincerely, honestly ask, please pray for us that we always experience that same peace that you have, and that all of our listeners do as well. And thank you for calling. Nancy in Cleveland, I wish we were going to be able to get to you. Kathy in New Hampshire, we will be praying for your daughter. Please be assured of that. We've got the close of the show coming up here in just a few seconds. But your daughter will assuredly be in our prayers. Debbie, good to be back with you. And boy, we are at another weekend already.
Yeah, can you believe it? Our best of show on Saturday it was a great show, a change for the better. What changes have you made in your life that just really made your life that much better, and in your spiritual life as well? Monday, we're going to be talking about if you have to be the center of attention. This is going to be a good one, Jerry, on Monday. What do you think?
It is, yeah. And I know, Debbie, you mentioned, I think yesterday, that you had gone to a healing mass, and I'm going to a healing mass tonight, and I want to assure everyone that I'm going to take you and your intentions with me, place them on the altar, and I really do ask that you pray for me, pray for Debbie and all of us. Make an intentional effort to do that every day as we do for you. Hope that you have a blessed weekend. For Debbie Georgianni, I'm Jerry Usher and the entire show team. Until we talk again on Monday, have a beautiful and blessed weekend.